Just wanted you to put on your offensive line background stuff. One thing Mike's told us is that when you and Matt and him came in and evaluated the young offensive line, and these were guys that you all thought highly of coming out of the draft. Wanted to ask you specifically, had you studied Austin Jackson and Liam coming out of the draft, and also skills that you think they have that will make them good at their new positions? Left guard, obviously, right tackle, front.
Liam, yes, due to last year coaching the line in LA. Prior to that, to Austin, with the Raiders, we normally do a collective evaluation, but that was our transition to Vegas with the virus, so I did not Austin, but I'd seen him in crossover tape. But I mean, we were fortunate with the way that they are as players, their abilities, they possess the skill set were necessary that we look for in linemen. We actually liked Liam in our evaluation process. He was on our draft board in kind of the same area where he was selected. So overall, that was the one thing I think you hit on that we really viewed as a positive of the job was the investment in the group, with the draft picks and also some of the back end guys. With Larnell Coleman was a target of ours for free agency as well, college free agency. So just overall, when we looked at the group, we saw a young group that really had potential. And sometimes when you see guys that have potential, why isn't the reality coming? And that sometimes it's a system, coaching, consistency of a system. There was a lot of change here prior within the systems. And that's the greatest thing just from over our experience coaching young players. That are the triggering tools to help them. Consistency, not moving around spots across the line, letting them be able to sink into one spot, understanding that playing run the right side is different than the left. You try not to switch them to let them get in the groove of that, let them understand how the picture is affected at that spot. So overall, we've been very pleased with the development, but like everything, most positions, they take time because you got to learn, and you got to learn through experience, and also it helps why we valued having Tehran here with his experience and our history in New Orleans. I just personally knowing him from when he was a rookie, we knew what his experience would provide as a leader and also as a player, and his perspective has been extremely valuable for our young players.
One of the sacrifices you make when you do that, and I totally understand what you're saying about keeping guys in one spot and letting them develop, but one of the sacrifices could be if there's an injury and a guy needs to fill in. How versatile are players, or how ready are you to fill in those gaps if need be?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think it's always you're planning for contingencies, and you work them as a staff upstairs. You do that in more of your individual, your drilling. You're trying to create consistency in your group work. But in turn, that's why you try and position them in spots where you feel that the flexibility may be on their same side outwardly or inwardly. Not necessarily may have to go across the ball, but sometimes that's necessarily what happens. Last year, our left guard was our backup right tackle. So, we worked that every Friday. He would do right-handed sets. So you always work those contingencies. I think that it would be remiss for us to not, make sure that they understand, but at the same time, you can't always be in, the worst case scenarios, because you have to let them get, a solid understanding of the foundation of playing that spot. It'd be like your right defensive end, we want to mark him on the left side so he understands the rush. Well, if that's what he does well, you leave him over there. Like, that's one thing I always thought with Von Miller, that's why they always left him on that the side in Denver, because he rushed the right tackle really well. Khalil Mack rushed the right tackle real well, just because normally Lions have these premier left tackles. Sometimes the guys on that side, and they just play well. So I think in turn, in the offensive line, if you're moving around a lot, working contingencies, you never really get that consistency of the fundamentals you're looking for, and then the confidence in playing able to play through the variables as they change.
Think about how you want to use your running backs this season. How much will be what you want to dictate any point, how much will be matchup oriented for each one?
I think both. I think that you try and understand basically what do your players do well, and then what schemes put you in a position to attack the defense and keep them, I wouldn't say guessing, but keeping them to reacting to what we're doing. So I think it's always, whether it's running backs or all positions, we're always trying to make sure that we maximize the player's skill sets inside of schemes that complement that. And I think we're blessed with versatile, especially running backs, versatile backs that have full skill sets. Like our wide receivers, obviously, have great skill sets for their position, and then obviously athletic linemen, versatile tight ends. I mean, it's kind of a primary thing. Guys who have one specific skill set, you can play with them. You just got to make sure you're asking them to be maximized in those situations.
Frank, a very open-ended question here. What do you like most about your offense, or the 2 or 3 things that you like most about it?
Oh, you can go all kinds of places there. Well, I would say for me personally, and my time in Chicago years ago, I was able to first start studying what Mike and Kyle were doing through basically their journeys in Cleveland, Atlanta, and then San Francisco. So I've always admired this offense for its versatility, for its foundational pieces, for its basis in their scheme, and how everything is a complementary piece off of it. So for me to be working in this offense with Mike, and then also the collection of all of our coaches, with Darrell Bevel, Wes Welker, John Embry, Matt Applebaum. I can go on and just listen to all the people, but everyone has a story from their journey that it was being incorporated, all right, through their experiences, their schemes, their knowledge, and a collective of, as Mike was putting everything together, assimilating any concepts or thoughts that guys had along the way. So for me, this is a system that, in a weird way, I believed in way back when I was coaching in college, calling plays, because inadvertently, foundations of running the football that open up the rest of the offense was kind of just a core belief of mine, and didn't really know it at the time. I was like 26 years old. But then as you grow, you really realize that's a fundamental foundational piece philosophically for my coaching that I shared with Mike, that it's just been, I skip to work every day. It's awesome. So just the whole, coupled with the system, the scheme, the makeup of this building, just everyone that comes to work every day to be their best, the players, you couldn't ask for a greater situation as a coach.
Frank, what has stood out to you about Tanner Connors since you first got him?
Great question. Because it's weird. So him coming out of Idaho State kind of reminded. It was funny when John brought him up through the process. Josh Hill was out of Idaho State in 2013. Similar story. Spread out wide receiver converting to tight end, and in New Orleans. And man, he was a great glue piece for us. And Tanner, has shown a really great skill set. He shows the ability to block. He shows the ability to get run down the field, separate, track the ball. Just all great things for the position that we're really excited for. And his development, as the season comes, will be a great challenge for us, because you're really excited for what he's going to bring for way his skill set, everything he's been flashing in camp.
Coach, what stands out when you pop on the Patriots defensive tape?
Just for them, they're versatile. They're a fundamentally sound, well-coached team. They have a system they believe in that you can just see. They know who they are. Versatile in what each week will be necessary for them to try and match up with the offense. So just overall, as they've done for over the years, they just have a very sound system where they try and make you play to other parts of your strengths, because they just understand what the offense is trying to do.
To follow up on the tight ends, Coach, you guys have 5 listed on the depth chart, maybe more than some other teams around the league. What have you kind of seen on the buy-in side of those guys? It's a very different scheme than maybe that they're used to, maybe used to more, in the passing game. What kind of buy-in have you seen from those guys in the blocking game and their commitment to that?
I think the buy-in has been great. they understand in this system how important they are to make it go. Through coaching the position for 6 years, I understood personally that you can never have enough at that position just because there's always a shortage. Evaluation of the tight end position always felt similar to quarterbacks. It's like there just were never enough. So when you have guys with NFL skill set, ability, broad-based skill sets, you can never have enough. So ultimately, I think the buy-in's been phenomenal. I think John's done a great job with the group, painting the picture of what we're going to ask of them to do. It's been different from what they've been asked to do in the past. So I think from Durham, Mike, Hunter, Seathan, and Tanner, they've done a fantastic job of really trying to be complete players inside of their skill sets.